Hello, greetings, this is Gilles Mancillon. I wanted to send greetings and blessings. Today I wanted to also congratulate you for all the wonderful work you've been doing. No matter what the situation of our life may be, we've all have done much work, and we are infinitely loved by all the forces of the universe, not just for the work we've done, but for who we are. For this love from the universe is not conditioned by our action, yet the planet is increasing in frequency, and so all the work that is done to improve our love, our compassion, to improve our light, our lucidity, and to improve our courage, the ability to work on our character is greatly appreciated, and as we do that, we are moving forward. For sometimes we feel like we are dancing, we are moving backwards, forwards, and sometimes we feel like we have done a lot of work, but we are not being, we don't feel like we are moving forward. Yet this is very necessary for life has to go very slowly in order for things to be integrated. We should not ask for too much too soon. We should be able to live in acceptance in order to find the serenity and the joy and the gratitude that is necessary for our well-being. So understand that we are all unique, and so there is always things that are very personal and particular to each and every one of us. All those things I'm talking about are, as far as I know, are true. They will help all those who are availing themselves to those understanding. Yet, unless your heart tells you something different, then that's what you want to follow. Most people have this challenge to move the 30 centimeters, they see life here, and to move here. This is really difficult to return to the world of sensation, of feeling beyond the mind, the lower mind. And so it is very important to honor and respect each and every intuition you have, each and every sensation you have, to believe in your intuition, to trust that, to cultivate that, and so to allow yourself to move beyond the conditioning, beyond the moon. Beyond the moon is an extraterrestrial being that was not originally attached to the earth. This will come into the consciousness later. As soon as humanity as a whole will be free to be liberated from conditioning, the moon will return home or continue its program. But for now, there is it's keeping the frequency of humanity on a lower level. So, but we do not. If we are connected to this drama of creation, the outer planes, we will always be swept away by the changes. And so it's important to maintain your center, to let go of emotional attachment to result in relationship to the outer world. For this is just a facade. You can repaint the facade as many times as you want, but it will not tell you what's going on in the building. What's important is that what's going on within you is there is more light, so that because we all have this little light inside of us, and the more light, there are millions of people that have developed this inner light. And so although there is not a greater connection where there's the one light is visible, all those little lights are diffusing all kinds of negative programming that have been going on for a very long time. For humanity has to go through this dark night of the soul. It has to go through to face all those we all have individually, to face all of the unconscious cosmic debris, all the fear that we have created in the past. They have manifested on the astral plane in some form or other. And so our mission is to retrieve that, to go beyond that, not to get stuck with it, not to refuse to face it, but to go through it with as little judgment as possible, to be in loving acceptance rather than resistance. And so also to understand that when we all have dreams in the outer plane, in the physical world, that we wish to be realized, and sometimes we feel, and it may find counterintuitive to think that to let go of those deep desire in order to connect to the inner self, which is completely different than it's completely it's another world. It cannot be described. The higher plane can never be explained or described. It has to be experienced. But when you tune to this consciousness of ascension, this development of love, light, and wisdom, then understand that all your dreams and desire are being crystallized for you. The universe is highly intelligent, and so the more you tune into your ascension potential, the faster things will go in the earth planes as well. While understanding that if our dreams and desire, we see that this is like a big cake that we want to eat, but the cake is not the dream. The cake is the ascension, and the dream is just the cherry on top that will come to manifest. So it is very important to focus on abundance rather than lack, because when we complain that we do not have something, that creates more of the same. When even if we do not feel like we have everything we want, it is better to envision ourselves having it already and being grateful for the universe for bringing it to us. That will accelerate the process. And understand that whatever we are on the road, but if we move a little bit above, there is this other road that is parallel to that, but where everything is already the way we want to. And so the more we detail, when we cultivate our dream, we want to know that all those details, all those things that we want, and put a lot of details into it, and then project yourself in it, see how you feel in relationship to it. When you're really sure that this is really what you want, then there is just a couple of steps to go, and then putting all your intention and love into that process, and then you just have to wait for it to come into manifestation. But it will happen. We do not want to be tricked by the ego. We all have an ego. We needed that for living in this reality. That is, but those shadows do not exist on the higher plane. God does not have a dark side. It is pure love, pure light. Always has been, always will be. That is the one thing you can depend on. The universe is benevolent. But the egos are maybe conflicting with one another, and so within that illusion, there may be all kinds of things that will distract you from finding that joy and that higher acceptance of love and light. And so, because the universe is infinitely complex, yes, when you tune into that divinity inside, that spirit of God that we all possess, that is the silent partner within our life, as it becomes more integrated within ourselves, this spirit can reveal itself and explain all things, both meaning and value. All is known by our God self, and so everything becomes simple and easy. But when we move away from that, then things can get really complicated, and we may get lost in all kinds of mental process and webs and labyrinths and all sorts of things. So understand the ego is our false self. It's got a bag of tricks to make us believe in the conflict, believe in the drama. Yet it is not. It serves the ascension in a way that it creates a dynamic force that allows us to give us choice in relationship to all kinds of situations. An exercise that was given by Archangel Michael a long time ago is when we do meditation in relationship to the ego or creative experiences, is to visualize our ego on our left shoulder as a little object or whatever form we want, and ask the ego to be just a spectator in the experience, so that we are not disturbed by it. The highest aspiration would be to do the will of God. Why? Because it is the highest possible experience that we can achieve as humans. And the will of God is just simply to love, to be in joy, to be in gratitude, to be in service. And so this will come more easily as we practice that, as we become more adept to that tuning in and following the guidance. It becomes easy. And so it is not possible to regress. It is possible to sometimes we feel like we're regressing, but it is not the case. We are all making great progress, and this planet we're moving out of an age of darkness to move into an age of light. So there is like this burst that is happening, and when there is a burst, there is always pain associated with the coming of this new life. So we have to accept that and pass through it as much as possible. The more we are centered and concentrated on joy, on bliss, on happiness, the more we are able to pass through that and not to be in judgment of those other people that are still entrapped into all kinds of negative agenda, so to speak. For all our love by Creator, even those who are working against life, against love, against life, against freedom, our love equally by Creator is just their karmic responsibility. Is not the same. What we sow in time, we harvest in eternity. So we will all learn. The law is infinite perfection. It is an eternal law that is always there to teach the soul through incarnation after incarnation after incarnation. We are getting more understanding and wisdom. I wanted to say also, I talked about coffee. There is no absolute. This is just for me. I have to let go of coffee and tobacco, but those things are useful. They are tools. They are alcohol or whatever you may think. But it's just at some point we want to clarify. We want to let go of all those things that are preventing us from experiencing the highest joy, the highest frequency of experience. And for me, coffee has been blocking my fourth eye, and so I'm getting ready to let it go. I wanted to discuss about the well of dream, this experience. Is that many decades ago I read a communication of the Arcturians, who are ascended master, they are ascended civilization, or incredible teachers. You can always avail yourself, call on them. And they were explaining that in their light body, when they look at something through this portal, instead of having like we are on Earth in material planes, there is usually a road with usually two paths. They have a multitude of reality that are presented before them, and just by the inclination of the head, they are able to move into one reality or another. So it's of course, this is on the higher plane. Life becomes a path of eternal unfoldment and joy and happiness. And there is really no way to transcribe that in the linear plane. The quantum field will always be different than the linear path. That's the very idea of quantum, is a higher function of reality. But we want to move into our multi-dimensional understanding to honor everything that comes to us. There is even our illusions needs to be respected, honored, and we have to face our illusion. We have created the illusion to not having to face some darker aspect of the truth. But when we allow ourselves to go through that, to move through this experience of illusion, we recognize the illusion. It is able to transmute into truth, and then higher truth, and then things will no longer be obstacles to our progress. We do not want. We want to move. We want to make small steps in terms of ascension. We cannot go too fast, too soon. Otherwise, we will be overwhelmed, and we'll be thrown out of the process, and we'll really feel like we're going backwards. So the great ministers of life are able to. The I Am Presence is able to monitor all of our it knows all about us. So it is able to monitor, to minister to us each and every progress we make, and we are being upgraded as we are already. So in a sense, this is the message I wanted to give today. It is also good to if you can to keep records of your interdimensional perceptions, intuition, insight, dreams. All those things may be good to be able to keep them, to keep a track of it, so they can return to it, and then you can see that there is a continuation in the unfoldment of the light that is being revealed within one's mind. I'm going to pull a few cards for the day. I'm going to sing a little song. So what is the highest wisdom that we can receive for the day? It is responsibility, to know that we are responsible for our thoughts, for our words, for our actions, for our behavior. All those things have to come aligned, not to be in judgment when we fell off the wagon, so to speak, but to know that this is really what is wanted, is to eventually manifest sovereignty, to become free will, to our will to be free to love, to be free to experience life to its fullest potential. And what we need to understand is limitation. To understand, we live in a world of limitation. Everything is limitation. in essence, the infinite gods had nothing to learn from the infinity. They knew everything, so they have created the universe of universes to explore beyond infinity in order to, and time and space is the realm of limitation. We need to master limitation, to transcend limitation, not to add any more limitation than we have, but to accept those that we already have, in order to not be in order to understand why those limitations are here. They are safety measure when something is we are ready to open ourselves to something higher, to something greater, to something better. The universe automatically makes it happen. So we want to remain in trust, remain to know that there is a higher will that guides the whole of humanity, the whole planet, the whole universe, and within ourselves as well. There is this this higher intelligence that we need to avail ourselves to the presence of those higher spirits that are in direct connection with us through our psychic connections. What we need to do is achievement. We need to achieve. So it is within our grasp to complete certain things and to make it so. So it is the understanding of achievement. Also wanted to say that all the things I'm saying, is, as far as I know, are true. They will be useful to anyone who applied it. But unless your heart tells you that the situation needs to be reversed for you at any given time, this is what you want to follow. Follow your own intuition, to follow your own heart, to trust it in your own guidance. It is very important not to push away your intuition and say, well, it's too good to be true, or it's not possible in relation, because we have all kinds of limitation within our mind, but the invisible force of the universe have resources that we do not, we cannot comprehend. So we have to trust and move with the flow. And what is the general message for us today is the healer. So it is about understanding that there is those who are not healed will only infect. So we have to accept the healing, to bring healing into people's understanding, to bring them the ability to let go of all those things that are trapping them within suffering, within ignorance. For in lucidity there is no suffering. If we are suffering, it's because we are ignorant of certain parts that are still affecting us in negative ways. So there is all this karma. We want to be grateful for our own karma, for our karma is the way that we need to, the law have created that, so that we learn from every situation, and all of those experiences will lead us to individual and collective freedom. But we do not need for the whole planet to yet be ascended for us to ascend. Otherwise we may wait, if we are expecting the reflection of full ascension to be manifested for this earth to be a paradise for all. It will happen, but it will take some time. Our own responsibility is our own liberation, is to be free, and so from there we will be able to assist everyone in a far more meaningful and significant way. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I thank you very much for your messages, for your comments, for your likes, for your subscriptions, and for your time, and for all the works you do on this planet. We will eventually be able to connect all our lights, for we are all little lights, some that are shining in the invisible quantum field of the earth, and all those little lights, and we are not conscious of that, but our lights are dissolving slowly but surely all of the old programming, and clearing up all kinds of things. Sometimes we take the karma of collective karma, we take a little bit of that so that we can help it transmute it, and that the whole of humanity benefits from that. We do not yet fully understand the unity consciousness, but there is really nothing else to understand. Love and unity are the keys to freedom. I'm going to sing a song that is to finish this video. It is a song about ascension, about the joy of reconnecting to that home, to that truth, to that eternal freedom. It is a song by John Evangelis that is called Somehow I'll Find My Way Home. It goes like this. You ask me where to begin. Am I so lost in my sin? You ask me where did I fall? I'll say I can't tell you when. But if my spirit is lost, how will I find what is near? Don't question, I'm not alone. Somehow I'll find my way home. My sun shall rise in the east, so shall my heart be at peace. And then if you're asking me when, I'll say it starts at the end. You know your will to be free is matched with love secretly, and talk will alter your prayer. Somehow you find you are there. Your friend is close by your side and speaks in far ancient tongue. A season wish will come true. All seasons begin with you. One world we all come from. One world we'll melt into one. Just hold my hand and we're there. Somehow we're going somewhere. Somehow we're going somewhere. You ask me where to begin. Am I so lost in my sin? You ask me where did I fall? I'll say I can't tell you when. But if my spirit is strong, I know it can't be long. No question, I'm not alone. Somehow I'll find my way home. Somehow I'll find my way home. Somehow I'll find my way home. Well, thank you very much, and I wish you a wonderful day, and let us find our way home so that we can come together there. Thank you very much. Namaste.